You are listening to The Lavender Phantom, Book 1 of the Club Lavender Duet by Lainey Delaroque. Copyright 2021, Lainey Delaroque. Part 4, Chapters 16 to 20. For previous chapters, navigate to the book playlist on this channel. Author's note: Chapter 18 has been abridged due to strong language and potentially triggering content. If you would like to listen to the chapter in full, follow the link in the description and you will be able to listen to the full, unabridged chapter. Chapter 16. I expect to see Marquis Buxton again tonight. Last time he left a hefty tip and positive feedback on my services, pleasing Valerie. I've run over some conversation topics in my head I can use with him to make sure his recommendation stays the same. But when Valerie sachets my way through the sparse crowd of the lounge with a single white camellia with pink edges in hand, I know it won't be Buxton. He requested the Versailles suite, and that flower can have only come from the East Asian room.
"You're in luck, Red Partridge,"
she says as she hands me the flower.
"Duke Harrington requests your presence to entertain him and his friends."
"What about Marquis Buxton?"
I play with the petals in my hands, the whole exchange now making me uncomfortable. A flower means a personal request. They only came, I thought, for the girls who were well-established and well-known. I'm either wrong about that, or it's my time to join their ranks. Or, I realize, it could be the doing of my mysterious employer. They did say they would get me on the second floor tonight. Could it be Valerie or the Duke? Who has power to change the bookings? What if I've read everyone wrong? Something between fear and anticipation gnaws at my insides. All the entertaining staff who receive flower requests are allowed upstairs. It is time. I only have to withstand whatever the night has in store for me and get myself into that office.
"Oh, he rescheduled,"
Valerie responds without elaborating.
"Peahen and Magpie will be with you for the night. The Duke has 2 friends with him. Make sure you girls treat them right. You focus on one of his friends. Do not disappoint me."
My head spins. The feeling similar to when I first entered a private room. Ever since the encounter with Marquis Buxton, I had been one of the supporting, invisible girls. Listening and learning, a shadow in a pretty room, only occasionally drawing attention to the corners of my being. There was never a time where there were an equal number of guests and hosts, a one-on-one entertainment opportunity. I ask myself again if I'm ready to do this, if I have prepared my mind for the potential abuse to follow. I force Melanie's tear-stained face from the previous night to the forefront of my mind and erase my doubts. I imagine what 20,000 would look like in our accounts. Then the image of Lavender in ruin floats in my brain. I'm not sure if I'm ready, but I have to go through with it. For Melanie. For myself. For everyone else being hurt right now by this place. I thread the flower through my braid and tuck a stray lock behind my ear. Trying to keep my knees from wobbling, I join Peahen and Magpie in front of the door to the East Asian room. Looking them over, I feel twice as naked. They both wear long-sleeved dresses with high necks, the designs or colors not matching but both hiding skin. Peahen is her usual quiet self, but tonight her head is lowered to her chest and her arms are crossed at her front. Her pink cotton skater dress reaches just under her knees, lace sticking out from below the hem and her sleeves. Her slender fingers are balled into fists. Her short brown bob is not as lustrous as before. A camellia, bigger than mine, is tucked behind her ear. The worry I felt upon hearing the name Duke Harrington returns. Magpie smiles at me. She is the newest girl at Lavender after me and possesses a certain easygoingness that other members of staff don't. Her smile looks a bit forced, but I smile back. Her mustard yellow pencil dress outlines her curves beautifully and contrasts with her ebony skin, revealing only a glimpse of her shoulders from the 2 holes at the top of her sleeves. She also has a flower, but instead of putting it in her braided black hair, she holds on to it with 2 fingers as if she could break it if she's not careful. Her dress is significantly shorter than mine and Peahen's, and my gaze slides over her toned thighs. No marks. I contain a sigh of relief. Maybe I'm just imagining things and Peahen is just being her moody self. Maybe their choice of clothes is coincidental.
Everything all right?
I ask, keeping my smile on.
I'm Kiara.
Magpie says.
I don't really like the whole thing with the bird names. It's kind of creepy, don't you think?
Peahen rolls her eyes, but I nod and stretch my hand out.
Adrian.
Don't start any discussions in the room.
Peahen says, her voice sharp and to the point.
Only speak when spoken to.
Why?
We want to make it out in one piece, right?
Right.
I drawl. She points at the door and Kiara enters first. Just before we go in, Peahen pushes another piece of paper in my hand. This time my dress has a pocket, so I put it there and follow her. If the note contains a warning, I have no time to read it. Inside the room, I remove my heels in the small area designated for shoes and step on the tatami mat. My aching feet singing in gratitude. 3 men are sprawled around the low table, drinking from tiny clay cups. Pillows of vibrant colors are spread around them. I can't tell the 3 apart. They all wear tailored black suits and white shirts without ties and sport short buzz cuts. Their heads glint in the muted light of the room like 3 eggs. They are all clean-shaven, with square jaws, unforgiving eyes, and thin lips. When I come closer, I recognize the one in the middle, Duke Harrington from a few nights ago. I look around and think we are all out of place in this beautiful room. The man next to the Duke pats a bright red pillow and smiles with a row of perfect teeth. I instantly want to run away, but my feet move toward the center of the room. I keep my eyes straight, fixed on the 2 golden brush strokes on the far wall. The flower bobs in my hair with every step, reminding me of fickle beauty and the idea that men like the ones in front of me probably view women exactly like flowers, beautiful but pointless and less pleasing, easy to pull out of the ground and easy to step on, silent and lacking a way to fight back. I glance at the low table before I sit down. There are 6 cups of tea, 3 with light, clear liquid, and 3 with an amber-colored drink, probably tea mixed with whiskey.
Help yourselves,
says Duke Harrington when we all shuffle down and sit on the pillows around the table. No one introduces themselves. Up close, I can smell the lingering stench of tobacco and sweat. I fight a desire to wrinkle my nose and pull away as one of the men puts a damp hand on my leg and moves it side to side. He nods at the teacup in front of me, beckoning me to drink. I look at it again, surer than ever that I don't want any of whatever that liquid is in my body. It is a simple Japanese clay cup with no handle. A single small camellia petal floats inside. There are flowers in the cups in front of Kiara and Peahen, but both of them seem in no hurry to drink. Do they know if the tea is spiked? What am I supposed to do?
My tea seems to have gotten cold,
I say, hoping the little wisps of steam coming off it wouldn't be too obvious in the muted light.
I will get myself a fresh one.
that one should be just fine.
Says the man to my right, who has draped an arm around Kiara's shoulders.
Come on, darling, show our new birdie how it's done.
Kiara looks up at my face and smiles. She takes the cup in her hands and draws it to her mouth. She pauses for a second, her deep brown eyes meeting mine. In that tiny moment, she seems sad. I want to slap the cup out of her hands, but an outburst will get me nowhere. So I grit my teeth and look at her down the tea, resigned to her fate. I need no more confirmation. My gut twists and turns, warning me that the situation I'm in is no joke. My cup probably has the same tea that made Melanie lose a night of her life. I lift the clay cup to my mouth and wet my lips, pretending to take a gulp. The men smile, but I know this strategy will not be viable for long. I have to think of something else, and fast. Chapter 17. I don't even smell the tea before returning the cup to the table. I don't know how much I can drink before I start feeling its effects, so I observe Kiara.
So what do you make of this deal with Comet International?
The Duke loses interest in us after we start drinking our teas and begins chatting with the man on his left. It is a discussion about the CEO of a firm I'm unaware of, so I use the time to tune out the conversation and keep drinking the tea without swallowing any. Spotting a stack of napkins on the side of the table, a plan forms in my head. It is messy and could backfire, but it is something. The men raise their glasses.
Cheers!
The Duke bellows, his voice tinted with the twinkle of happiness only alcohol can bring. This is my cue to drink again. I hold his gaze as I take my cup and awkwardly bump clay into clay. The sound is unsatisfying and quiet and easily drowned out in the voices of everyone else in the room as they laugh and whistle. I flick my gaze to Kiara, who is slurring, her body sluggish, her cheeks flushed red. A dull pain tiptoes across my chest. I know nothing good will come to her tonight, and I'm letting it happen. I take a second longer than normal to blink, closing my eyes momentarily to will the dark thoughts away before they consume me. It is time to execute my mess of a plan. I touch my lips to the clay cup, feeling the roughness of its edge with my tongue. There is a chip on the side. I play with it, hoping to cut my lip on it, hoping to taste a bit of blood so I can calm and focus on the stinging sweetness the graze will bring. But I can't, so I proceed with a pounding heart. I take a big sip, my mouth filling with the taste of green tea. Any other day, I would happily swallow gallons of it, reveling in its delicate flavor. But tonight, I cough instead. My hand grabs for the napkins, putting a wad of them in front of my mouth so they can absorb the whole of the tea I won't swallow. The liquid dribbles down my chin and neck. A droplet slips between my breasts.
Oh dear,
The Duke says, his palm on my shoulder. Maybe he is trying to steady me. Maybe he doesn't know his strength in his drunkenness. But my shoulder aches under his grasp. I straighten, my eyes still watering from the exertion of fake coughing.
I apologize.
I coo in my British accent and dab my neck and collarbones to bring his eyes to my breasts while I hide the soaked napkins on my other side. He follows the movement, leering.
I'll clean this up right away.
Peahen blurts, a strained smile tugging her lips upward.
You go clean yourself up, Red Partridge. If there are no hand towels in the toilet, use some of the napkins in your pocket.
The note. She wants me to go out and read it.
yes, you go and we'll have another cup of tea brought over.
The Duke says, waving to one corner. I get up and go to the bathroom without replacing my shoes. I keep my head down, and before I enter, I see a small gold handprint just next to the entrance. How did I not notice it before? I go into a cubicle and lock the door. The note is on the same lavender card, but this time it has writing on both sides. On the inside of the fold, there's a small poem, written in that familiar masculine hand. Birds of feather flock together. Tightly gather, mind the weather. Does this refer to us three tonight? The previous one referred to the boy. If this is from the Lavender Phantom, he is observing me. On the other side, in a tight, scrawly handwriting that looks female, is a less poetic instruction. Drink the tea. I'll help you. Could this be Peahen? Or is someone else involved? Could it be Valerie? If I trust the note, I will know who my ally is after tonight. If it isn't a trap, of course. Whoever it is, how will they help me? Prevent me being drugged or protect me while I'm vulnerable? Grant me access to the office somehow? How much does my mysterious helper know about my true mission here? As always in life, I'm faced with the choice of whether to trust someone or not. I fold the note this time, wrap it in toilet paper, and flush it down the toilet. A few minutes later, I'm back in the East Asian room. The table has been emptied in my absence. One of the bouncers brings a fresh cup of tea ready to be forced into my body. My breath hitches a little when I realize that my plan to take their worst and move on will be difficult to pull off. Am I going to end up like Melanie or worse? Raped and tossed on the street, remembering nothing of the night? When the man leans behind me to place the cup on the table, I get a waft of his aftershave. It smells musky and cheap, something a granddad would wear because his grandchildren gifted it to him. I try not to breathe. On the way up, his palm finds its way on my shoulder. Its weight is uncomfortable, crushing me sideways.
Behave, little partridge, and drink your tea.
He whispers into my ear, his voice hot and wet, sending a shiver down my spine.
She'll be fine, Baron Break.
Peahen suddenly says. He snickers, pushes himself off me, and walks out. I dare a glance at her. Did she hear what he said to me? There was something creepy in the way he said it, as if he personally wants to make sure I'm complying. Has she realized it sounds similar to the message on the note? Or maybe I'm too high-strung and everything is suspicious. Taking a clean, dry napkin, Peahen swipes across the table, making the wood sparkle with leftover moisture. A ring glints on each of her hands, a wide silver band with a fat, sparkling diamond-like stone. They look expensive. Maybe they're gifts from clients. I consider all the pieces of information I have so far. If I don't drink, I will look suspicious. If I do drink, I will lose control of myself. From there, someone will either protect me or do something despicable to me. 2 choices, 4 outcomes. 2 favorable, 1 that will set me back, 1 that will destroy me. I decide that the highest chance of success at the moment lies with me trusting the author of the note. The poem inside alludes that this will be okay too. Birds need to stick together. I stare into Peahen's eyes. She stares back, before giving me the slightest nod possible. I drink. The tea is hot, but not burning. A delightful jasmine green. My heart jolts up and down in my chest as I swallow and strain my body to feel something. Anything. I feel nothing, so I take a second sip. The men are satisfied with this and return to chatting. I concentrate on maintaining my British disguise and pray I don't slip up if and when the drug takes hold of me. Another half an hour passes. Kiara appears to be gone, replaced by a giggling, slurring mess. Peahen still appears fine, though she's floating in my eyes a bit. I move my head slowly. I feel very drunk, and I've only had half my tea. I giggle a few times, not because anything is funny, but because I feel pathetic. A hand travels up my skirt and I let it. It could be my hand, or Peahen's, or any of the men's. It doesn't really matter. It's only a hand. I think someone spills something and laughs. Everyone sounds like they're under a bucket, and I'm looking at them from above. We're all small, like ants. Peahen's glinting diamond rings are like 2 moons. The ground rises to meet me at one point, and the world tilts, then spins. I grab my head and pull my knees to my chest. I want to sleep. I feel a sharp pinprick in my neck as I'm lifted, and the world tilts back into place. Everything is the right way up, but still seems to be moving faster than my thoughts. Peahen's head is on my lap. She's laughing, and I pat her soft milk chocolate-colored hair. Good puppy. Someone drags her away. I fall on my back and look at the ceiling. Exposed beams on a first floor. Interesting. Good place to tie. I turn to my side. The smell of tatami. Amazing place to tie. I miss rope. Kiara flops next to me. I catch her hand, but she too is dragged away. Where is everyone going? I don't want to be alone in this big, big room. Chapter 18. The world steadies when I lie down. I open my eyes and notice it doesn't dash around me. It only swirls. Someone is walking around the room, their steps heavy on the delicate floor covering. I see black biker boots through my hooded eyelids. It is one of the bouncers. Either the one who beat me or the one who came to bring me the tea. The Baron duo. Break and fast. Breakfast. I'm hungry. When the bouncer's hands extend to take me, I don't flinch. I stay limp in his sweaty arms because it's easy to be carried away like a piece of meat. I keep my eyes loosely shut, a strip of muted light floating in my vision. I'm being taken to a room, up the stairs. 1, 2, 3 doors down a black corridor. Panic suddenly squeezes my heart, making it pump blood like there is no tomorrow. It rushes in my head, deafening me with its swishing sounds. Everything in my body screams for me to run, to use my limbs and to get myself out of there while I still can. But my brain is fuzzy, and I can't really will anything to move as I want it to. It is madness. Deep down, I know I can do anything, overcome anything. But in this very second, my feelings are shallow as a half-dried puddle. All I can think of is how I'm about to be violated by someone. All I want is a glass of water, a sandwich, and a warm bed.
This room.
I hear from behind us. The sounds are no longer distorted. It's a second man, one of the Duke's friends. A moment later, stars swim behind my eyelids as the bouncer hits my head on the doorframe on the way in. Biting the inside of my cheek, I contain a hiss. The pain spreads across my skull like a spoonful of warm honey. It glides between my hair follicles, welcoming me back to a safe place. I recognize myself, and I realize I'm not that drugged anymore. I can think, I can hear, and see. I can feel. But this whole situation is far from safe. The bouncer tosses me on the bed. I land in the silky sheets with a soft thud, the pretense of unconsciousness very easy to maintain. The room smells like mold, sweat, and cum. The pain in my head has faded, and anxiety now ties my bowels in a knot. I fight with the desperate desire to open my eyes and look my future assailant in the face. I want to scream. I want to thrash and break skulls with a loose table leg. But the voice of reason, returned to me in a haze of other flashing feelings, reminds me I will get nothing done that way. Violence is great, but justice is better. I have a plan. I'm the brigand wraith. I always succeed. Lost in my thoughts, I don't notice the two men have reached some kind of agreement. The door closes, and I guess I'm alone or with the businessman. There is a soft rustle, then the sound of a belt unbuckling. I have to use all my willpower to stifle a scream as something touches my naked shoulder. If I continue straining like that, I will start shaking, and that'll be the end of this ruse. I've finally made it to the second floor. I just have to persevere through whatever the night has in store for me, then get to the office. The touch that started at my shoulder moves down my arm. It is a finger. Nothing scary, I tell myself. I pretend I'm at the Moon Garden, blindfolded and playing with a friend. I imagine the hand belongs to Connor, or to Hannah, anyone but its real owner.
That's so hot.
It is a mumble, and I barely make it out. The smell of booze hits me as he buries his face in my neck. The bed dips when he straddles me, his weight crushing me. He stops stroking me for a moment and stills. He is probably looking at me, so I focus on keeping my breathing still and my eyelids calm. My eyes are itching to see what is happening. The top of my dress is pulled down violently, and I bite my tongue to keep from screaming. His touch is disgusting and rough. The realization that he thinks he's doing this to an unconscious woman makes me sick. Frigid air rolls over my body as his touch turns vicious. If anyone can take pain and make the most of it, it is me. The bed springs back when the man moves away from me and walks somewhere. An unwelcome shiver runs through me. If I could sink deeper into the mattress, I would. I can deal with physical pain. I'm fine with being hit and bruised, cut and stabbed even. But inside, I find myself terrified of being raped. Sex has never been something painful, never been a weapon to assert unwanted power over me. Feeling vulnerable and faced with sexual abuse, For a moment, I find kink people stupid for idealizing something as gruesome as forced violence. I don't know if I can go through with this. I hear the man step closer, then his hand is on my face, pulling my chin down. Tears well under my closed eyelids and my face contorts. I can't pretend any longer but keep my eyes pressed shut, unwilling to look the monster in the eye. He doesn't seem to notice or care. He reeks of something unpleasant. The combination of my reeling thoughts and the forceful invasion of my mouth makes me gag. As he continues, I have no strength left to stop the vomit as it comes out all over him and the sheets.
Stupid woman.
He slaps my cheek. It's not a playful slap. He uses all his force. My ears ring and my world spins again. He gets up, and his absence on me allows me to check in with myself. My mouth burns with the acid from my stomach. The smell makes me retch again.
Disgusting.
He continues, pacing around the room, probably looking for something to clean himself off. I cough again, which seems to infuriate him further. He stomps toward the bed, and I brace my body for a hit. It doesn't come. Instead, he catches my shoulders and pulls me to the side with his entire strength. My body lands on the floor with a thump. My shoulder takes most of the impact. Pain spreads out from it through my whole right side. My head bangs, but the hit isn't so bad and I remain conscious. My bruised ribs are killing me. The smell of vomit still permeates the air, so I retch again, unable to stop myself.
Stop that already, you useless piece of shit.
The man is fuming. He kicks me in the stomach. My breath escapes, and I can't pretend to be limp anymore, so I double over and rasp. I finally open my eyes, the mute light blinding, the sounds of him walking around deafening. Curled up in a ball, I stare at my knees and hope he goes away. A second later, I hear the door slam. The room drowns in silence. I dare to look up. I'm in a beautiful room of deep purple and gold luxury. A crystal chandelier hangs over me, and a massive mirror with a lavish frame stands on the opposite wall. As I catch sight of myself, with my disheveled hair, bleeding nipples, and vomit-stained mouth, I hiccup in surprise. I thought I was ready to take something like this on, but there's no way to be prepared for this. There is a reason the girls were given the spiked tea. I doubt anyone can go through this pretending they feel nothing. I bend forward as I'm sick once again, vomiting all over my dress. Then I hug my knees, rock myself side to side, and cry. Chapter 19. I don't know how long I cry for. At the back of my mind, I know it isn't a great idea. It is a useless reaction and takes up valuable time that I should be using to sneak around. But I can't get up, can't even attempt to. Curled up in a ball, I sob into my dirty dress, blocking out the world. When someone shakes me violently, I open my eyes, misery still floating in the liquid of my tears. My momentary reprieve is over. Peahen stands above me, looking urgently from side to side.
Get up, Adrian, for Christ's sake, just get up.
She chants as she kneels next to me and tries to lift me. Her thin arms are not strong enough, so her fingers slip around my skin, her nails leaving a thin, fiery line of accidental pain.
You should have left the moment he was done with you,
she continues.
Why are you lying here crying?
She tries to lift me again. Her face comes into focus. There's a red spot in the corner of her mouth. I blink my tears away. Are you okay, Peahen?
I'm okay. I'm okay. And Christ, I hate that name. Just call me Tanya.
I prop myself up on one arm, my form shaky. The pain in my ribs floods my mind, and for a moment, all I can think about is how everything hurts. It's exquisite, allowing me a respite from the sickening feeling of being violated.
Please move, Adrian, please. We'll both be in trouble if they find us here.
Tanya is pulling my other arm, almost dragging me along the floor. I get up. It is not as easy as those 3 words, but I make the movements with newfound conviction. My body sings with pain with each step, It fights me through every motion, but I embrace its melody and squeeze Tanya's hand. It is warm in mine. "Where are we going?" I whisper, as she drags me out of the room and across the corridor. My bare feet push into the lush carpet. I have lost my shoes somewhere. How will I get home without shoes? Can I drive without shoes? I've never tried. Can I even drive in my state? Tanya keeps pulling me forward. We pass the office door. I consider yanking my arm and trying to force my way in, but remember, I'm not alone. "Trust no one," my employer said. Does that still apply? I think I can trust Tanya. I shake my head because thinking takes too much effort. I only spare the office a passing glance as we continue down the corridor. Tanya pushes a painting sideways, opening a secret wall panel with a creak. I'm too confused to appreciate the secrecy of the spiral staircase in front of me. I stop in the middle of our descent. "I forgot my shoes. I have to go back. You go without me. I need to get into that office after all. I need to be done with this place."
No chance in hell.
Tanya says through gritted teeth. Her grip on my hand tightens, and she jerks me down, almost throwing me off balance.
I didn't go through all the trouble to save you just so you could run back up there and get beaten up by Chad and Brad.
I bite the side of my cheek and follow her. I don't mind getting beat up. It would have been better. It might have given me information to work with. But as I look at Tanya's hunched back and trembling shoulders, I know I can't just shake her off and go upstairs. I would get her in trouble, and she has definitely not consented to a beating.
Why am I even doing this? Why did I listen to him? Every time. Every time it's dangerous. We'll get caught, and then what?
Tanya mutters under her breath, her pace speeding up. We are almost running down the stairs at that point. My ribs don't allow me to forget they're bruised and whine with every step. "Where are we going?" I ask again, tugging at her hand. If not for her death grip on mine, I would think that she has forgotten I'm even there.
Downstairs,
She whispers as we pass another dark level. If I've been counting correctly, we're in a sub-basement. Tanya halts. We face a metal door, similar to the door of a cabin in a cruise ship. It looks out of place here. Tanya pulls a lever, rotates the handle in the middle, then pulls another lever, twists another small handle, and pushes with her entire body weight. The door doesn't budge at first, but then groans forward. Tanya slides through the small opening and pulls me behind her. Everything hurts as I angle my body to get through. After I pass two, she eases the door back and executes another sequence of actions, this time at the back of the door. It locks shut. She moves forward, gesturing me to follow her down an unlit corridor. A red light faintly illuminates our path, but nothing more. Before we leave the door behind, I turn, observing its mechanism, trying to commit to memory what Tanya did to operate it.
Come,
She urges when she notices I have stopped trailing her. I still have no idea where we are or what we are doing here, but something in Tanya's nervous demeanor makes me think I'm not in danger anymore. Or at least not the same danger as before. She is on my side, and while her reasons are unclear to me, I feel somewhat better. As we walk through the black corridor and through a door, I blink at the bright lights of the room. It reminds me of the nurse's office at my school, half decorated as a normal room, half medical. This time, Tanya helps me get on the cot near the wall and pulls the surrounding curtain. I'm restless as I wait, my body shaking uncontrollably both from the adrenaline leaving it and the ambient cold. I hug myself and try to steady my breathing. This is some sort of panic room. Or maybe a safe room. It looks like a quirky study and feels strangely familiar. Something in its smell reminds me of the moon garden. It smells like disinfectant and sex. The curtain is pulled again, but this time, instead of Tanya, there's a man. I look him up and down, my brain failing to make sense of the situation I'm in. Maybe the drugs still haven't worn off completely. He is tall, at least 6'3", towering over the cot in a strangely domineering fashion. His skin is golden under a doctor's coat, and behind his attractive features, his dark eyes hold unhidden concern.
Tanya tells me you had an unpleasant experience.
His deep voice booms in the room. He doesn't seem to be concerned about being heard or discovered. His manner is confident and relaxed, holding an air of self-assurance that makes me believe the doctor's coat isn't just some senseless cosplay. I'm unhurt, I say, though I know full well it isn't true. I don't want to be here. Is this where all the girls go if there is an accident?
We try to help everyone, but we can't always manage between the two of us,
he says as he sits down on the cot next to me. I'm suddenly very aware of his presence and the state I'm in, covered in vomit, half naked, with ruined makeup and hair. I try to cover myself with my arms, but he stops me, placing his hands on mine.
I know they beat you. I can help you. The real owner of this place would never have let anything like this happen to you. Let me look at your injuries, do some first aid. Then you can go to the hospital later.
I regard him. My injuries are not severe, but it doesn't appear like I will be free to go until I agree to receive treatment. Will the man be able to tell some of the bruises are old? Does he know about the stranger who tried to lockpick the front door? I thought Miss Bergamot was the owner, I say instead of a reply.
Not even close,
he says.
I can tell you more about this place while I do my job.
What about Tanya? She's hurt too.
I'm okay. I only got slapped in the face.
I hear from behind the curtain. She pops her head in for a second, showing me she's cleaned the blood off her mouth.
I'll live.
I nod then, giving the doctor my half-hearted consent. At that, he wheels in a tray of instruments and bandages and asks Tanya for fresh clothing. She appears again with a bundle and sets it at the side of the cot.
Are there any areas you don't want me to look at or touch?
The man puts a set of blue gloves on and I shudder. Too many doctors around me lately. My brain hasn't had a chance to recuperate. I don't mind, I say, trying to sound nonchalant. What kind of a doctor are you?
I used to be an anesthesiologist.
He is young-looking, 30 at most. His jaw clenches as he says that. I narrow my eyes. What happened?
He found a better employer.
Tanya joins the conversation without regard for the man's response. I realized I don't even know his name as I strip off my dress and bra and stand in front of him in my panties. He didn't touch me down there, I say, as I feel the need to explain my choice of leftover clothing. I shift the pouch of lockpicks gently to the back of my panties. If they see that, they don't comment on it.
That's good to hear,
Tanya says, and the man nods. He doesn't seem fazed by any of my injuries, only looks at them and reaches for the bottle of antiseptic. He applies it thoroughly to my nipples and the cuts on my face.
Valerie, Miss Bergamot is middle management. There are people above her who claim to own the club, but it's between hands right now. The person who built this place from the ground up is out of the picture at the moment, but Tanya and I are working hard to bring the old Lavender back. Believe it or not, this was never meant to be an illegal brothel that forces its staff to service the guests. It was a place of respite that offered sex workers a space to practice safely, to sleep, eat, and drink, and even to have fun.
I find that hard to believe. The man, however, speaks with determination mixed with regret, his deft hands hovering in the air from time to time as he seems to find a nice memory before letting it go again to focus on me. Tanya stays silent, her eyes locked on something in the distance. I wonder what she's thinking about. If I get the job done, will I help them to get their wish, or will I destroy it, leaving them with bittersweet memories of something that will never be again? Chapter 20. A quietness settles in the room as the doctor works on my injuries. My shoulders droop, and I finally relax, finding solace in the aching of my body. The violation from before seems like a distant dream. My logical mind knows I'll return to it at some point. Maybe see it as a nightmare or an unexpected flashback. But for now, I'm happy with the moment of peace. A sharp pinch on my nipple brings me back in the room. I look down and notice a small medical staple lodged at one side of my areola. With the blood and the shock, I hadn't noticed how vicious the wound there was. Hadn't felt the loose bit of skin flapping about as I made my escape. "It will scar," I whisper, more to myself than anyone else. The doctor nods.
Human bites are notoriously bad for infections, so please seek medical help when you leave tonight. I've put some antibiotic ointment on it.
"Okay," I say, "but I have no intention of going back to the hospital. I can take care of myself."
And please, no matter what your reasons for being here are, don't return.
I blink. "What?"
Leave.
Tanya says.
We saved you. You're free.
"I'm not going anywhere." My voice has the taste of stubbornness in my mouth. "I know I'm free. I can leave any time."
Don't kid yourself.
She continues.
Valerie will make your life hell. She will entrench you in this, and whatever freedom you think you have, you will lose. You know those rooms have cameras, right?
My eyes narrow. "So, they have my rape on file. That's incriminating evidence against them,"
That's not how this world works.
the doctor says.
They will use it to blackmail you, to threaten you. They have your face. They have your name. They can find your family. They don't care about the police.
"Bullshit," I say, for lack of better arguments. I am the family that found them. I saw my sister's tear-stained face. I am here to destroy them, and they will start caring about the police. I will make them care. There is no way I'm just going to leave with my tail between my legs. I have to finish the job,
Believe what you will, but don't come back.
he says.
Tanya and I are already risking everything to save you.
I get up and unravel the bundle of clothes that has been left at the side. A gray hoodie and matching sweatpants. I put on the pants with a few painful jumps. "I'm sorry for your trouble. I really am, but I can't afford to lose this job." Tanya huffs, lifting her hands in the air.
This is why I told you it's useless. She's Valerie's little bitch now, desperate for her approval.
She grabs my shoulders. "How dare you?" I hiss, though I don't know if it's about her words or her actions.
Wake up, Adrienne, or you will get raped for real.
Tanya, don't speak like...
The doctor can't finish his sentence. I push her back, almost knocking her to the floor. "I get that you're pissed and that you think you saved me, but I didn't need saving. And you know what? He raped me for real, so I'm past the worst bit." I'm shouting now. I put on the hoodie and zip it in one motion, grazing it against my wounds. My breasts complain, but I ignore them. At least now I know what kind of place this is. I can come to work tomorrow knowing that there will be pain, but I will be one step closer to my goal.
We can give you money.
The doctor says, his enormous body suddenly between Tanya's and mine. I shake my head. I don't want to be rude to the man who has just patched me up, but I can feel the familiar tingling of a panic attack beneath my skin. I want out of the little room and back upstairs. I don't want to be forced to leave under the pretense of compassion. Even if it is real, it's useless to me. "I don't need money," I say. "I promise no harm will come to you or Tanya because of me. I will tell no one. But stop wasting your energy on trying to save me and focus it on someone who needs it, like Kiara." As I talk, Tanya walks around the doctor with narrowed eyes.
Where did your British accent go, love?
She emphasizes the last word mockingly. Fuck. I knew I forgot something in that room upstairs. My mouth opens and closes as I scramble for words.
What accent?
The doctor looks confused.
She is hiding something.
Tanya grabs my upper arm. I can shake her off easily, but I don't. Can I trust them with my real goal? My real identity? "I promise I won't tell anyone about your undercover operation, I swear." My accent remains rooted in the States.
I don't trust her,
Tanya says. Because of this pushback, I realize my own trust for her grows. She's a prickly woman, but her head's in the right place. She is pushing against Lavender in another way. The man shoots her a stern look. I wonder what makes me so trustworthy in his eyes.
No, I don't. For all we know, she could be a spy for Valerie, or worse. What do we do now?
Tanya shakes her head. Or worse. That's who I'm looking for. The one worse than Valerie. The one running Lavender in the shadows.
We take a leap of faith, that's what.
He responds, his face solemn.
I have yet to encounter a patient who's turned on me.
That is a gigantic leap in logic, but I don't question it. As long as they let me go, I have no reason to challenge his belief in the goodness of people. I take a few steps back toward the door. A small voice in my head demands I reassure them again. Listen, you're right. I start, my voice low. I'm here with an ulterior motive. I can't tell you what it is, but it goes against Valerie and the practices of this place. Ultimately, my goal is the same as yours, though we're going about it in different ways.
And that is?
Tanya's eyebrow is raised. To stop them from hurting people, women, men, children. I don't know if I can help you rebuild or whatever, but I want to remove Valerie.
Are you a cop?
Tanya seems intrigued now. No, and not from any other law enforcement.
A hitman? Hitwoman?
The doctor offers. Jesus, they think I'm going to kill her. Let's say I'm a contractor.
But you got hurt and you seemed so upset.
Tanya looks confused. I hadn't realized the difficulties of infiltrating a place like this. I know now. This is overly simplifying the situation, but I want to appear confident, in control.
Fine,
Tanya says. She walks to the desk in the far corner of the room and starts fiddling with something. I follow her. I really want to keep reassuring her. You're safe, Tanya, I say. At least from me, you're safe. She doesn't look up. I look at her hands and the massive rings on her fingers. Below them, she's playing with a piece of purple card. The notes. Did you write them? The both of you?
I wrote you the T one. Everything else was written by someone else.
I turn to the doctor.
Not me.
He says. The Lavender Phantom? I ask. The doctor huffs out a laugh.
You could say that. Are we good? We leave you to your thing and you leave us to ours?
We're good, I say as I walk to the door. Tanya clicks her tongue and says nothing. This was part 4 of The Lavender Phantom, book 1 of the Club Lavender Duet by Lainey Delaroque. Author's note, Chapter 18 was abridged, and if you would like to know what you missed, follow the link in the description and you will be able to listen to the full unabridged chapter. To listen to the next 5 chapters, please navigate to the next video. All parts of this audiobook are available in the playlist The Lavender Phantom on this YouTube channel. Thanks for listening. Subscribe to the channel to avoid missing out, and see you in the next part.